This is going to be, as typical, an infectious, blissful performance with our rock stars tonight. We're joined by Angela Goodeve. Um,
Hi.
Hello, Angela. Yeah, in Kingston, Ontario, Canada, my favorite place next to home these days. And with our buddy Dave Moore. Dave, we can't see you, but we can feel you.
I
So
can see him.
yeah. So anyway, there's a lot of vibe here from David. We can feel it all over. Uh, so I'm in Ottawa, originally from Montreal, and like you were saying, Angela. So just managers think, leaders are living. So I'm just trying to live right now and just not trying to overly think this one. So we're going to be in a discussion. We're supposed to have a hangout with Ahim Novak tonight, but him and I were exchanging notes over the last day, and that's just going to be, an opportunity we're going to catch in just about 13 days time on October 30th at 6 p.m. So we're really looking forward to this one. And so as the three of us are gathered here on Google Plus, we're going to be, what I want to propose here is picking up on some of the great vibes, Angela, really. I feel so blessed to know you because, I mean, I think I'm not the only one here looking at your go in the last couple of days. And just to say, you've been participating in this blog action day of yours, and it's so, I mean, the way that you're describing this to me is so powerful in the sense that it's like the whole universe is conspiring to be happy, and what an occasion where people are blogging about the team and doing it from all across the globe and joining their energies on that sense. And and at the same time that you joined the Lead with Giants community, which like Dave and I were kind of okay, we thought that Angela were in. I just added you in the feed, and I really thought you were part of the community. And then when you entered the room, I mean, I was just like observing and going, yeah, Angela, that's it. There we go. I love it. So, Angela, do you want to kind of share how you feel, what you've experienced just in the last 24 hours, and just picking up on those things, and how is it? What does it do for you? Because I think you've done the Black Action Day last year, and I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen you, I saw you show with lunch. I wasn't able to be there with you, but I mean, your energy vibes are really high right now, and it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Well, I mean, it's really interesting because there's literally thousands of bloggers that get together on this day to write about one topic, and it's always a humanitarian topic. Like last year it was the power of we, and this year it was human rights. Other topics they've had in the past has been food or whatever, and then you come at it from like this humanitarian perspective, and so and then that's in addition to the people that are actually following it that aren't the bloggers that are involved in it. So it's like this big, huge, like energetic movement to, to almost like precipitate change on this topic. And the one thing that really struck me is that I don't know whether it was a personal thing or whether many wrote on the same subject, but all the ones that I read took this angle of taking this individual responsibility and stop, putting it on anything outside of yourself to affect change, and then when I was talking today in the show, I was talking about how, you can apply that same principle to, any aspect of your life or any thing that you want to affect change with, but it involves turning the mirror back on yourself and then reflecting that out into every area of your life.
I think Dave just pictures. Sorry.
Yeah, people out there don't know it, but Dave is taking pictures of us along the way, and it just kind of throws us off for a millisecond, but it's all good. It's fun.
I didn't even know what was happening. I just moved my finger over the mouse pad.
So, I mean, I want to pick up on some of your points because I was home, not feeling too well today, away from the office, but I took time to listen into your show, and I took a few notes, which you're talking about self-awareness and the importance of waking up and taking ownership, and You know, and the importance also of setting boundaries, that you love to love your haha moments. I mean, take time to just be crazy and sing. And I don't know when's the last time you actually did that, sing in your car, for instance. But you and I have
Oh, every
spoke.
day, like all day.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm in the car, that's what I'm doing.
So, Dave,
And I guess, you know, to apply it to this discussion,
yeah,
you know, like just like it can be applied to anything else, it can be applied directly to leadership, because, you
yeah,
know, leadership is not just about being at the office. It's embodying those qualities in every area of your life, so that when you go to the office, you're not putting on a show. You know, you're the real deal. Like, you're a true leader, and you're not just, you know, wearing this mask, so to speak, and, you know, trying to fill the expectations of your particular role. So you're, in taking responsibility to be a great leader, you're, you know, taking that individual responsibility to be the best you can be in every area of your life.
totally. Dave, I don't wanna put you on the spot, but I just did. But we can't see you, so that is, I guess, helps.
I think it's just you that can't see me.
Yeah, I really do, yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, you still look good no matter what.
I've got a great face for radio.
That's true. That's true. So I'm trying to open
No,
a
that's
door.
not true. But anyways.
So, Dave, we're trying to open the door here for you to say a few words on leadership, because you're such a leader, right?
Oh, that's me. Um, where is
So,
that music coming from?
Well, we were talking about taking individual responsibility and living it in every area of your life. And that's the way you can show up as an authentic, true leader, and not just somebody who's putting on a mask, right? At the
Yeah,
office.
I think also true leadership comes from experience. You know, of being in an environment, or certainly in a working environment. If you've got experience of that, you can actually stand in front of a crowd of people who work for you with total confidence and impunity, because you've done their job, or you know their job. And a leader, I think, is somebody who has to be able, rather than see, as a post I put up today, rather than look at the future at a target and then try to get buy-in from people in your own personal target.
Right.
If you involve your people in creating the target, and you can do that by not so much manipulation, but you can sort of weave a conversation and a meeting in the direction you wish to steer it. You don't need to get the buy-in, because people will see that as a target for themselves as well as for you. And I think leaders need to be visionary, but they also need to be right in that moment with their people, but also have that confidence that they can leave things to the people around them, because unless they can hand over the reins sometimes, they may as well be a one-man band. There's no point in leading anybody. You have to let people go and do their thing. So, yeah, I mean, leadership, in my belief about leadership is that you give people a lot of responsibility and power, and just be aware that if things go wrong, if things go awry, you're in the moment and you can actually take the control back. But it's giving people responsibility, and that way they're included.
Yeah, and you can't do that unless you're, you know, living that true leader role in every area of your life, because if you're not, then you're going to let your ego get in your way, and you're not going to be able to let go enough to allow those people to do that, and you're not going to be confident enough in your daily interactions, even if it's not in a formal meeting. It could be just a one-liner that you say to somebody that makes them feel included and empowered in that organization and what you're trying to do, right?
So, yeah. So what I was going to say is, like, there are a few books here I've been sort of going through it. One I'm reading right now. Yeah. Seth Godin, The Icarus Deception is on my desk right now. Yeah. So Seth. And the other one is Ahim Novak, Infectious. And the other one I'm reading right now is, which I don't have the cover for, but it's sort of been around forever for me, is, Drive from Daniel Pink. So the point there is, like, Seth Godin is so I think the point I'm trying to make here is, because we live in such a connected economy, that crowdsourcing and crowdfunding is possible. It is happening in real time. People are connected, like we are right now, across the globe, and we can have like Robin Sharma. I'm really sorry about the greatness post that Robin puts out there, in the sense that, if there was ever a time in your lifetime and in human history's lifetime that you could have a worldwide reach in everything that you're doing, it's now. And it's like waiting. I mean, and I am using with people at the office, and even with some of my friends, and saying, well, like Picasso, a Picasso metaphor, right? Picasso is Picasso. I mean, he's way out there. We can't really beat Picasso's. And no, just a minute. Like, the twist that Seth Godin is putting is, in the connected economy, we're all Picassos, because Picasso is, a person that may have he can't do a painting in 30 seconds, and it has taken him 30 years to get to 30 seconds. But the point is, and that's sort of the key thing for me, is in the connection economy, to make the link with Seth Godin, is in the connected economy, art is not just for the real Picassos. Art is a living form. Anybody can create something, and the power is into owning your own and relating to others, like Ahim talks to. And when you do that, this is when you really unleash potential, and that really co-creation takes a life of its own. That something great can happen. I mean, that's pretty powerful.
It is pretty powerful, and the one thing that stands out is how what you just said ties in with what Dave said, and that was that whole idea of Picasso. And like, just so that the viewers understand what you're talking about, the story is that Picasso is standing on the side of the road, and somebody walks up to him and says, can I have your autograph, please? And Picasso says, yes, you may have my autograph. And he proceeds to, like, just take 30 seconds to make this, to draw this piece for this person. And then the person says, well, thank you, Picasso, I'm so grateful. And they start to walk away. And Picasso says, wait a second, you owe me some money. And the person says, well, I'm not sure what you mean. I thought that you were giving me that. And Picasso says, no, that's worth $1 million. And I might have drew it, and the guy's like, well, what do you mean? It only took you 30 seconds to draw that. And he said, yes, but it took me 30 years to get there.
Yeah.
And the tie-in with what Dave said is that, as a leader, you can't just, like, walk into some place and have the arrogance to think that what your view is the way that it should be, because lots of other people have really brilliant ideas, and you're going to be missing out, especially if you haven't had the opportunity to work in their shoes before you got to where you are. So it's your job as a leader in the office and in your personal life to be able to put yourself in other people's places and see it from their perspective, and then make the decisions from there about how you're going to live your life or run your business.
Making room for others, I think, is key, what you're saying. So is that what you meant, Dave? Because I think that Angela. Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting, the thing about Picasso, because I was reading the other day about Picasso, and there was a story about the perception of art. What is one person's art is not necessarily another person's art.
That's a good one.
And some people see your business model as being the correct one, and another person will see your business model as being completely mad. and unworkable, and yet you can make it work because it suits you. It's a bit like a cluttered desk.
Yes.
You know where everything is, but somebody else sits down it. And the story of Picasso was that he was standing somewhere in Paris, and this guy came up to him and said, "I know you're very famous, but my wife thinks that your paintings are ridiculous. Two eyes on one side of the face and a nose over here." And he said, "Is she an art fan? Does she like art?" And he said, "She doesn't see any realism in it, in art. There's no realism. It's just somebody's idea of something. It's not real." He said, "Is it realism that you believe art should be or things should be?" And he said, "Yes, and that's why when I looked at your painting, I could not see any realism in it. It wasn't like real life." So I said, "It's very interesting. Have you got a photograph of your wife?" And the guy said, "Yeah," and pulled his wallet out and took out a passport photograph of her this big and gave it to him, and he said, "Is this your wife?" He said, "Yes, it is." He said, "Oh, she's very small, isn't she?" And so what he's saying is this is not the reality. This is an impression of it. And so what we have here are leaders who, when somebody else looks at the way you do your business model and the way your business is run, it is impossible for them to duplicate it 100%. And people say, "Well, I want to be the next Richard Branson." You won't be. You can't.
No,
You can be like that.
And who wants to be anyway?
You could be your own version of that.
Exactly. Is there music in your background, Johan?
Yeah, maybe.
It was just kind of distracting me. It was hard for me to hear Dave, but I did feel you, Dave, and I heard every word you said. And you know, it's really brilliant in the respect that, like, it just emphasizes that fact of, you know, everybody has their own perception based on their own experiences, and so therefore everybody has their own gifts and strengths and views that they can contribute to that based on their own experience. And just because it's, you know, their view or your view doesn't necessarily mean that that even is the way it is. You know, like, what is reality when everybody has different perceptions? You know, it's not yours and it's not mine.
How many times have you been, you know, two people go to a party and one person comes away and they say, "What was the party like?" And they say, "It's fantastic. Best party I've been to." And they ask the other person, they say, "It was terrible. Worst party." You know, and it's their perception of that one event.
I have a sense that if the three of us were in the same room, they're guaranteed that the party would be pretty awesome.
Yes, you're probably right.
So that's the point about being in blissful performance. I think what I was trying to make here, you know, like Dave is talking about people going at parties, and I mean, we each are we're consciously taking decisions to jump or not to jump, in the sense that, you know, life, and I mean, you've talked about this, Angela, which is being present and being authentic. And the point there is, I mean, the minute that you, I mean, and Ahim would say, I mean, okay, so like infectious connections is really, I mean, I'm exhausted just by the term, because it's sort of, you know, because I'm so social, I feel compelled to talk to everybody and open every door, but that's his point. So you have this party and you don't need to, you have that power that you don't need to open every single door. And when you do that, you are consciously creating your own greatness, in the sense that you're not asking permission for others to make you happy. You are already great and having fun on your own, but the beauty is when you're combining that energy with other people, like we are right now, and enjoying that conversation, where we each other, we're opening doors and we're making a connection. We're not just remaining superficial, but we care about each other and we care about advancing the conversation. And that's what Hakim is really saying. That if he was on air tonight, that's one of the things I would have asked him, and maybe that's something, for you, Hakim, in 2 weeks' time. But I think we have a responsibility. What I'm trying to say is we have a responsibility to make things move forward all the time, and that's what I say to my employees, my superiors. Like whenever I'm in contact with people, I always am consciously trying to make sure that we are moving forward and always elevating. And so when I see that people are either consciously blocking their energies, I'm trying to help them, take that, that elevation once again, because I've seen so many, even myself, I've been blocked, I've been stuck, and when you are in that mode, how creative is that, right? I mean, oh God. I mean, the party, you may have the best party, that many people, I mean, people are dressed, I mean, you're jumping all around, but you really don't feel like you want a party, and your life sucks.
Yeah, it all goes back to the way you show up in life. And, you can either show up at that party and, it can either be one that was put together by, a spectacular host, or it can be, something that's, in an abandoned building with a bonfire in the floor. And I'll tell you guys that story later, but and why that popped into my head. But it doesn't matter where you are, but you are the one that brings yourself to that situation and can make the most of it. And so you're the one that can bring yourself to work, even though you've been stuck or frustrated in the past with the way that it's run or the bureaucracy that you're dealing with. But you can choose to accept it and make small changes within yourself that's going to help that evolve into something that's more brilliant and manageable.
Yeah, and I want to pick up on that and just open the door, if I may, with Dave, because I think that reinvention and transformation has become a critical skill. And I think you see it, Dave, right? You're in the transformation business, and Angela, you worked with.
I think it's all about transforming yourself, not necessarily so much what happens to you. I think you precondition what happens to you. No, don't get me wrong. If you're going to have a bad day, it's going to be a bad day. But it's how you react to it, and how you make it impact, or how you allow it to impact yourself. I work along the tenet that the person who has flexibility in a situation controls that situation. And so if you can be flexible in your planning, and flexible in your time, and flexible in your day-to-day or quotidian running of your life, depending upon what happens to you, you'll be able to get more out of it than if you're just continually hit with something all the time, and you get a little bit further and something. But you were right in what you said about, obviously you're right about a lot, about everything, but one thing you said there was about the movement, your progression through. I always tell the people that we train that there is a basic tenet in life which is exactly the same as the basic rule on every computer game that is played today. And the basic law of every computer game is exactly the same as life, and that is you will be killed if you stand still.
Yes.
And in business is exactly the same. In a computer game, you're in a dark corridor, you stand there, someone's going to come along and either eat you or shoot you. And it's going to be game over. If you keep moving and going forward and weaving and bobbing and weaving just like you are now, you can duck and dive these blows. Exactly.
Thank you. I love you too, Dave. So, yeah. And so let me just say this, because I was reading. What was I reading? Which book was I reading? Yeah, I think it was Seth Godin's. But basically, there was a quote from Larry Page, the CEO of Google, and he said, "No, that was an open leadership." Another book I'm reading, which from Charlene Lee, where we're going to invite on this show at some point or another. But the point there is, Larry Page was saying, I'd rather have a leader that is taking so many risks and that is failing, obviously, because that's part of succeeding. You are going to be failing. That just be cautious on the side of mainstream platitude, social platitude, that you're not going to do anything. Basically, you're just going to be looking at parades. And I mean, when you're driving anything, you know, in your life, whether it's business or personal, if you're just like on the outside looking in, I mean, it's a nice scene, but there's a good chance you're just looking, and you're not, you know, you're not creating anything. You're not adding. You're not letting go of your greatness. So.
Yeah. Can I just say something that Ali said in response to one of your posts? I can't remember whether it was on the site or on Google Plus, but she said that there's enough observers in life, is basically what she said, and that we need to be the ones to stand up and do something and live it. Yeah. And you know, that's just something like to really breathe in for a second, because you know, that's what it's all about. Like, do you want to go to the office and do you want to just go through the motions, or do you want to go to the office and feel passionate for what you do, to love what you do, to feel like you're making a difference in what you do, to feel like you're touching every single person around you, whether it's the people you work with, whether it's your superiors, or whether it's the people that you're serving. In some way, you are going to make a difference in the world, but you have to become aware of the fact that that's how much personal power that you have, and then that's how much personal responsibility you need to take for your and other people's happiness and success. And if every single person embodied that, then we wouldn't have, you know, like, you know, tying it back to human rights, we wouldn't have all those atrocities, because every single one of us would be living it and changing it.
That's true. But I mean, just for the record, I'm not going to touch Dave. I will never do that unless there's a witness. So, but you are so right. I mean, we have, I don't want to sort of, you know, not take this seriously what you're saying, but I mean, I just wanted to say that. But basically, no, it's true. I mean, we don't realize how much power we have. That's how real it is, right? And but you need to own it. And what my point about blissful performance, which is the title of this hangout, by the way, is stop being a doormat. I mean, be your bliss, live your bliss, for God's sake. I mean, be there. Why are you like such a doormat? I mean, waiting, observing. I mean, jump, for God's sake. I mean, don't think about it. Do it. I mean, that doesn't mean that. Yeah. Well, yeah. Dave, please.
No, I was going to say, I've said to people before, how better would your life be if your default setting in life was, when I don't know what to do, I'm going to take a bold leap forward. What is the worst that can happen to you? And going back to what you were saying, Andrew, earlier on about that led to the preconditioning, how many times have you seen people who go into work and they've got a meeting, and before they go into the meeting, they say, this is going to be a complete waste of time.
Often.
Yes.
What does it turn out?
Not the meetings that I'm running, I guarantee that.
But if you go in there with the mindset of doing something positive and getting something positive out of it, it's contagious.
Of course.
And that leads to something that you, Johanna, talk about, is the infectious connections that happen around you. But if you go in there thinking, waste of time, and you just let it go, and then you're over it and you're out. Because I think it's very sad when people wake up in the morning and jump out of bed and say, I can't wait to be mediocre today.
I love that. Oh, that's such a powerful call. I can't wait to be mediocre today. Wow. Let's write this down. I mean.
You must think that some people do actually aspire to that.
And that is so, I mean, the minute that you do that, you're basically dead.
Well, you are setting you're setting the bar for your day.
For sure.
And you're not going to get anywhere. Everything that happens to you is going to be taking you one step forward, three.
Yeah.
But the acceptance of whatever's thrown at me is just going to bounce off. I'm still going to go ahead and do my thing. That's the mentality we need. And that leads to those infectious connections because people want to be with you. If the strange thing is that when you look at people in companies, if you go into a company as a new guy and you look at the people working there, there's one guy walks in and sits down next to you and goes,
What was that?
So,
what was that, Dave?
You look at him and you think, strange. So you say to somebody, what's wrong with him? And they say, oh, that's Bob. He's always like that. Now, that behavior becomes acceptable. Likewise, if you were sitting in the room and someone walked in and sat down next to you and went, great day, eh? You'd be going, what's wrong with him? So you've got to get the happy medium.
Yes.
Between that. So many people see their day as being something to just get over, and they're actually going through the motions, and the day that they die is the only thing they actually do.
Yeah.
It's what they're looking forward to. They're trying to get to the end of their life alive, rather than have achieved something.
Yeah, and the thing that really struck me when you were saying that was the whole fact of, I think that people hold back so much because they have these fears of, how people are going to judge them, or, what they're going to look like, or maybe they're going to embarrass themselves, or maybe, like, God forbid, they're going to fail. But, sometimes you even, like, to get over that, I know I've done this in my personal life, is taking it to the opposite extreme where you're just like totally crazy and ridiculous, in just free abandon in life. And then, and then once you get comfortable with that, and it's not going to be the end of the world if people do look at you and think you're crazy. And then once you get comfortable with that, then bring it back and incorporate it into your own self and find that balance that it's going to allow you to embody it and not be the person that, is trying to hold your hand in the loo sitting beside you, right?
I totally agree, and I am totally unapologetic about my mustache right now. And
okay.
So I'm a bit conscious at the time, and I want us to finish on a high note because in 10 minutes I need to be with my friend Dan Ford. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Yeah, hi, Dan. Anyway, he doesn't know, but he will soon become really famous. So anyway, so blissful performance is basically infectious. Blissful performance is what we've done tonight. I think is letting ourselves go, trying to not to be too serious at the same time. At the same time, trying to make a point about the importance of not thinking too much, but just being and in the moment. And when you're doing that, I think you're accepting that others have a lot to bring, and that you're going to get more crazy when others are sharing their craziness. That's and
that's where the brilliance happens.
There we go. The magic, exactly, Angela.
Oh, so. Can I just say that one thing that
no, you can't.
One thing that happens there is exactly what Anne said. When you are in a climate of organized chaos or controlled madness, where people are having a good time when they're working, they're not scared of coming up with crazy ideas.
Yeah.
But if it's a stiff, boring existence in the office, any idea out of the norm, however great it is not going to get said. It's not going to come up. They're going to feel as if it's out of place. But in a climate where anything can be done, and anything can be done, You're going to get bigger and better ideas.
Yeah, wow. That's like everybody breathe that in, because that is the brilliance right there.
Yeah, it is.
And it's really like one of the core problems that leads to people not like being afraid to wear their Dr. Seuss hat and their mustache and the glasses just because they're at the office. Like, who the frig cared? Like that, it's fun, and it's not going to affect things. In fact, it's going to like lead to like where the magic is. And again, I'll say this quote over and over and over because it's one of my favorite, but it's the one that says, "The day that I broke up with normal was the first magical day of the rest of my life." Dave's seen it. I know Johan appreciates it, and everybody else needs to live it.
Some of the best offices I've worked in have been the ones that I've run, and where you've got people coming out with ideas. I've always said that when you've got a group of people like that together, a silverback gorilla on a unicycle could come through the office and no one would care. Because that sort of environment is the thing where success is bred.
Yes.
And some of the coolest brands are Apple, Virgin, and they're not tie and suit and tie. They're not strict regimen of boardroom meetings. It's that environment of growth.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what HR Rockstars is bringing to the table on a day-to-day basis, as the community is, defining its vision, mission, and core values, and as we're aligning with the web presence, the launch of the web by the end of this month, with a clear brand and a content strategy and an engagement which is unstoppable on a day-to-day basis. So really, I want to thank both of you for being who you are, the energy that you're bringing, not only in our community, in HR Rockstars, but in Lead with Giants, and in other communities and with other people that you're engaged in, Blog Action Day, and and Angela, I have so much respect for you and love. Same thing for you, Dave. Although I'm not going to touch you, I've told you. But we can work. We can work. We can work on that academic. As long as Angela is around, we are going to have controlled madness with you as well, Dave. So.
It's going to be awesome. Woo!
Exactly. So I will leave you to say a few words before we leave for real, because although we love each other a lot, we need to finish this at some point. So Dave, you want to say a few words, and then Angela, and then off we go to the races, like we say.
Sure. It's been good. I'm a firm believer with going with the flow. So the fact that we couldn't have what we planned tonight doesn't mean that we couldn't have what we've had.
Exactly.
So it's
Which
been
is
good.
Brilliance. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a good thing to do. And who knows? Anybody watching it may get a little bit of out of it.
You're awesome, Dave, and you really look good tonight, by the way.
I know, I've been working hard. Do you realise if I died now, they wouldn't have to do a thing in the funeral parlour?
Well, I mean, you're making everybody a big service, too. So as long as there's music.
Exactly.
Angela, over to you.
Yeah, my message is simple. Wake up and live your life, dance in the rain and sing in the car, and do all that crazy stuff that's going to make you enjoy life, and be around people like we are here, and the world is open to every possibility, and we're going far together. I know that, you guys. So I love you both, and I love you all out there, and see you later.
Sounds good. Thank you. This has been an HR Rockstars Infectious Blissful Performance. Once again, one of many red carpets moment to come. Until next time. Cheers.